Hey guys, this is the MTG noob here. I'm on the draw. I don't really like keeping this hand, but I think I'm going to chance it. So we won't mulligan. If this was an untapped land, I'd be much happier with keeping this hand, as I'd almost say, let's chance it. A bunch of 2-drops, pretty good. Plays a Dragon Skull Summit. It's now turn for our turn. We don't hit a land, we hit a 1-drop and pass. My opponent untaps and plays a Farseek. We're probably playing against Jund, which I don't think is a really good matchup for us. He does lay down a Stomping Ground, which is good for us though. We untap into a Boros Reckoner. This is going to be a long game. Play out our Stromkirk Noble, and if my opponent has an Olivia here, we're in trouble. My opponent actually does nothing, which surprises me. We hit another 2-drop. This is going to continue to be a long game. We swing here for 1 with our 1/1 Stromkirk Noble. This deck does mulligan horribly, but this probably was not a keeper. We grow our guy with a counter on it, and we decide, let's play another Stromkirk Noble. We can potentially get lucky if we hit a land or two. Unfortunately, if he has anything like Mizzium Mortars, we're gonna be pretty screwed. On our end step, our opponent abrupt decays our 2/2 Stromkirk Noble. He probably would rather save it for this, but I think at this point, there's really no way he loses this game, as he slams a Garruk, and I really have trouble dealing with 3/3 Beast and a Garruk. I untap, I finally hit my land, which is pretty good for us, since now we can play a whole bunch of dudes. Unfortunately, I think we're 2 behind at this point. Play a Burning Tree Emissary. And we say okay, and play a Burning Tree Emissary. And say okay, and play a Flint Hoof Boar. This hand actually looks much better now, and we'll see if my opponent sweeps my board. I can't swing into Garruk, though. My opponent makes another 3/3 Beast. Garruk's pretty protected at this point. It's unfortunate that he's also got a big old bonfire for 2. That wipes most of my board, and leaves me with a 3/3 Beast. And then he pillars it. This match is pretty much over. We take 3. The only saving grace is possibly that he has 1 card in hand, although he more or less can draw up to 3 any point he wants. We can play an Ash Zealot, but that doesn't really accomplish anything. Putting Garruk down to 3 allows him to still draw cards. This was definitely a mulligan. We're going to scoop this game and go to game 2. Against Jund, we don't have a really great matchup. They have a lot of removal spell. Currently, I'm thinking, Thunderbolt for Olivia seems pretty good, so maybe that makes it in. He's also got life gain in Huntmaster and Thragtusk, most likely. Madcap Skills is a good start early on, but does allow us to open up ourselves for 2-for-1s with all of his removal. Mizzium Mortars is good at clearing things out, but we're never going to board wipe. So far I decide that Madcap Skills and Mizzium Mortars are not great. I decide to cut the other 2 Mizzium Mortars as well. I still need 4 cuts. The reason I'm keeping Skullcrack in is it also deals 3 to Garruk. After some debate, I'm pretty much convinced that I should cut 4 of these cards. Pillar isn't a very good finisher, and he doesn't have much 2-drop toughness creatures, except for Huntmaster of the Fells. Rancor is a bit slow, and once again opens us up for more 2-for-1s. I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut the Rancors here. I don't really want to get 2-for-1'd. I don't want to play the Pillars, however, but I don't think I have a choice. Madcap Skills may be good enough to get an early start and kick some butt, but I don't think it's going to be good enough in this matchup. We do, however, keep the Volcanic Strengths in, because they are win condition for us. Let's submit and hopefully get lucky. We'll be on the play first, and we open up a hand that's terrible. Luckily, I know I can't keep this, although I have been keeping some shaky hands in this matchup and in this series. This one is not much better, but I more or less have to chance it, as it has the disgusting start of turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Emissary, and Lightning Mauler. I find it hard-pressed outside of a turn 3 Miracled or turn 4 Miracled Bonfire from him to beat this hand, if we hit a land. I do keep this hand. My opponent decides to keep. I will not mulligan this, as I have a turn 1 play, and I cross my fingers and hope that I have a turn 2 land. My opponent plays a Stomping Ground and passes back. We hit a Skullcrack. This is going to be unfortunate. We swing for 1. This opens us up for a whole world of hurt on turn 2. This was not great. Mulling to 6 in this deck is never really good. Jund is a hard matchup. He seems to not have black mana here, but he does Farseek. We're going to be in a ton of trouble if he plays a Huntmaster on 2. But we will be growing this large, so that's good at least. We untap and hit a Stomping Ground, probably the best land outside of a Rootbound Crag. We play Emissary. We say okay. We play Emissary. We play Emissary. I gotta get that going. Say okay. Add a Lightning Mauler to the pool. Say okay, and we will grab one of these emissaries and swing for 6. This is our best possible start. Unfortunately now, we're very open to a Bonfire for 2 miracled off the top. A Bonfire for 1 doesn't really do much. He does have to deal with all of this, and we have 2 Skullcracks in hand for life gain. If he plays a Huntmaster here, I'm going to feel pretty sad, since the Skullcrack would have helped out with that a lot. He just plays a Farseek, which makes me think he's got an Abrupt Decay here. He's Farseeking for an Overgrown Tomb. If all he has is an Abrupt Decay for this, I think we're in a pretty good position, as we're hitting for 6, and we have 6 damage in hand. Unfortunately, hitting him for 6 and 6 makes 12, but we draw a Thunderbolt, so it's just a matter of time before we're able to do this correctly. I am going to hold back my Skullcrack, as he might be trying to throw down a Thragtusk on his turn. We are pretty accurate, as he does Abrupt Decay and takes 6. I ship the turn back, and my opponent untaps at 7. That's pretty good for us, as if he plays a Thragtusk here, we have 6 power on board, and in response, he Bonfires for 2. That's pretty sad for us. I'm really unhappy with that. And he plays a land. It's okay, though, because this Arbor Elf is not going to really do much. I'm actually going to waste my Thunderbolt here, as I want to leave up Skullcrack to prevent any life gain shenanigans. Rip a Volcanic Strength, and unfortunately no creatures on board. He does only have 2 cards in hand, and since he's playing Jund, he has no counterspells. My opponent empties his hand with a Stranglerootgeist and a Liliana the Veil. I let the Liliana resolve. As he's going to make me discard, I'm going to discard this Volcanic Strength. I say okay. With 6 points of burn in hand, we are going to be able to be lucky and take this game. We're going to take some damage here, but it really doesn't matter. The only problem is if I misclick. I guess he's worried about a hasty dude off the top, because he leaves his Arbor Elf back. I Skullcrack him, down to 1. It says, do you want to redirect to Liliana? I hit no, because that would be stupid of me. I untap, and I Skullcrack again. Unfortunately, now he knows about my Skullcracks, but we do get to go to game 3. On the draw, my hand feels pretty sad. I don't know, if I'm able to deal with all the power that Jund has to offer. I consider bringing in Madcap skills. Mizzy and Mortars really doesn't do what I want in this matchup, as I'll never overload it, and killing a Stranglerootgeist is not where I want to be at. I'm still debating if I should bring in these Madcap skills, but Liliana makes that an even sadder approach. I feel with Bonfire of the Damned, Madcap skills is not really where I want to be at. I just pretty much take the deck and run it back and cross fingers. This hand loses to a turn 3 Liliana, but I'm not going to be greedy and keep it. I know it seems a lot of like a big flood here, but the thing is, it's really not. We do hit a Burning Tree Emissary, which is probably the best case scenario. My opponent casts Farseek. We let it resolve, as there's not much we could do. We're going to be bashing for 4 this turn, and 7 on our next turn. He might get a Black Source here for a Liliana, and if that's the case, I just sacrifice the Lightning Mauler, as it has 1 toughness. He does get a Black Source, like we thought. We draw a Reckoner. That's pretty awesome. That kind of makes me want to rethink if I want to play this or not, but I think I just have to go for it here. I play my Rootbound Crag, as it gives me double green, double red. I play Emissary. And I go into Lightning Mauler here. This not only protects against Liliana of the Veil, but it also gives me 4 damage on this turn, which is a pretty good start for the deck. Unfortunately, with no 1-drop, we're not going as fast as we would like to go. My opponent decides to go big and cast a Farseek. I think that means that he's going for a turn 5 Thragtusk. He doesn't also play this. He might be going for a Mizzium Mortars, which makes me slightly worried, as I kind of don't want to commit my whole team to the board. I think actually I'm going to just bash for 4 and play this Reckoner. This way, if he does want to go for a Mizzium Mortars, at least he's taking 4 damage to the head, and I have a boar. After some thought, I'm still sticking with this plan, as I think it's the best strategy, because a boar plus a volcanic strength is pretty saucy. He decides to tragic slip my guy. I was not expecting that, which makes him take 2, but also makes me think he doesn't have a Mizzium Mortars in hand. I think our best route here is Boris Reckoner. It prevents us from getting blown out by a bonfire or a Mizzium Mortar. It also fights through Thragtusk, if need be. He does have the Thragtusk here, which is pretty unfortunate for us. Going back up to 19 against a red deck is pretty disgustingly good. Now, I can go all in, and I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm actually going to Volcanic Strength both of my guys. This plan is very loose, as he might end up just beating me with an Abrupt Decay. But he more or less has to have 2 Abrupt Decays to be in this. If he has double Thragtusk, I'm going to be really kind of sad. We hit him down to 10. It's very hard for this deck to beat Thragtusk. This line also allows me to play around a Mizzium Mortars for Overload, as it will deal 4 to him. I am at 20, so I'm only at a 4-turn clock with this Thragtusk. He decides to not only Dreadbore, but potentially swing for more. This is going to be really painful if he has a Liliana of the Veil here. I can't play around it, though. He does not have a Liliana of the Veil. I debate if I should play a Reckoner here. First things first, I'm going to swing for 4. I don't think I want the boar off the top here. It looks like he's going to be taking that. Or, then again, it looks like he actually has a murder. This is not looking good. However, I can beat the crap out of this Thragtusk. I play a Stomping Ground tapped. And then I play a Reckoner out, and really hope he doesn't have anything. He's had a lot of removal this game, and that's really hard for me to deal with. Unfortunately, my opponent has the Abrupt Decay, and he kills my guy. This is not looking good for the hero here, which as the role that I've casted myself in. We untap and have a Skullcrack, which is pretty good because it prevents us from having any other shenanigans with life link, or life gain, excuse me. I have a boar, and I don't think I can race in this position, but I more or less have to get lucky here. He's got 2 cards in hand. He goes to 7, and we pass. Unfortunately, we're at 10, and we're soon to be at 5. This makes me think he has a removal spell for my boar. And if I was a panda, I would be a very sad one right now. Any creature here pretty much seals his deal, unless I rip a Volcanic Strength off the top. Another Thragtusk here is stymied slightly by this Skullcrack, but he does have another 5/3 beater. We really have to get lucky here. The only card in our deck that could deliver is a Volcanic Strength off the top. I cross my fingers and draw a Thunderbolt. Unfortunately, that's not enough, and we're dead. If Thunderbolt dealt 4 to a player, that would be fantastic. I'm going to swing here, as there's really no chance in me winning this game, even with blocking. He snap blocks, as I assume he would, and we can put him to 1. We feel sad that we lost, but it was a close battle. If there was at any point that we could have won, please let me know. Thanks for watching. This has been themtgnoob.com, and I'll be bringing you a deck recap shortly.